because you were one of the few people I knew.
Okay.
So it was probably shortly after I became publisher.
Right.
And just getting involved with the chamber on the trustee level.
Okay. So why don't you tell us about your time at the Daily News, the Daily Record, and how that, and when did you first get there?
March 31st, 1997.
1997. Wow. But who's keeping track?
I was 20. I grew up in Jacksonville. We moved here when I was roughly 3 or 4. And so I grew up here, but I had to leave to appreciate it. And so that's what I did. And I lived in all kinds of places where it snows and is cold. And it was an experience. I thought that, Jacksonville didn't really have anything going on, because I was 18 and I knew it all. Are you kidding? And so I moved around a little bit, and after 2 years, I realized, no, I need to be home. My family is here. My mom is here. At this point, I had a baby. So I was 20 with a 1-year-old, and I moved back to Jacksonville, and I needed a job because, when babies are hungry, they cry. So I needed a job, and I started interviewing and trying to find out what that right place for me was. And so I got an interview with, at the time, Jill led up the HR department at the Daily Record, and so I interviewed with her. And then she set me up with an interview with Jim, and Jim said, hey, look.
Jim Bailey?
Jim Bailey. I have all of these resumes, Everybody wanted to be a secretary at Bailey Publishing back in 1997. It was a hot commodity. And so he just asked me, why do I take a chance on a 20-year-old girl when I have many other resumes here and people that are more qualified for this job? So why do I hire you? And I said, because I need to work and I need an opportunity. I will be dedicated. I will work harder. I will be the hardest working secretary you have ever had. I just needed the opportunity to prove myself and make a life for my kid. And I think it tugged on that father of 6's heartstrings. And so he gave me a chance. And at that chance, he made me cry every single day for a year. He was tough. But eventually I did learn how to use the fax machine. Thank you, Jim Bailey. And I kept coming back. Why? Because I needed a job. And I wanted to learn. I was hungry to make something of my life and give my child a good life. And so it was opportunity that kept me there. I never sat back and said, oh, I know what I'm going to do when I grow up. I'm going to do business news because that sounds really exciting. But let me tell you, it is so exciting to do business news. I never knew until I started doing it. And you're at the epicenter of everything that is happening in our region. You know about the developments that are happening. You know about the legal issues that are happening. You know what's happening in your local government. You get to meet really awesome people along the way, and that also cultivates you as a person. If Doug, one of the things that I know about you is every time I see Doug out and about, Doug has a smile on his face. I find that absolutely amazing because I try to smile. Some days I don't want to smile. I've never seen Doug not smile. So if it's even that I take away after a day of networking, and I can take that smile away, then it's changed my day a little bit. So thanks
good.
for being that.
Good. Well, you're a quick learner then. Good.
Fake it till you make it.
And the idea is to actually make it eventually,
Right.
and be happy all the time. So, so you started off as a secretary, Jim Bailey's secretary, and then you did you immediately go into leading the group, or was there steps along the way?
Oh, every step along the way. Are you kidding? At the time I joined Bailey Publishing, I think that we had roughly 30 employees. I started out just answering the phones, receptionist, secretary, making deposits, rolling change. Rolling change. I can count quarters like nobody else. At the time, we had newsstands that were a quarter, and so literally, like, I counted change. Anyway, I did that probably for about a year, and then I moved over into legal advertising. The way our office was set up, the legal advertising director sat directly across from me. So I would hear them, I would hear her on the phone talking with lawyers. I would hear her engaging with clients. I would witness them proofreading and watch the process of every single notice and what all of that entailed. And so I learned at first just through observation. And then if I had downtime, I'm like, hey, can you teach me how to? Whatever they were working on, can you teach me how to do that? If you are sitting at work, I mean, I want to be working. I don't know about you, but I'm not one to just sit there and wait around for 5 o'clock. Like, I want to get something done. I want to be productive. And so I just filled my time with those kinds of things. If I seen somebody busy and it looked interesting, I wanted to know what they were doing and how to do it. So I started working in the legal advertising department and worked my way up through that department. And I was probably legal ad manager for, I don't know, 3 or 5 years. And I love that process. We do now roughly 200 notices on average a week. We have 2.5.
When you say notices, what do you mean by notices?
Public notices.
Public notices.
Your probate notices, family law, foreclosure, city government notices. So the whole back section. That's one section of news and 5 sections of public notices. We have 2 full-time staff members and 1 part-time staff member that does that in a week. They're amazing. So a lot of times we feel like we're you're a hamster wheel, right? And you are running. And sometimes we forget. I will say through the process that I've gone through with the city over the past month, which I really don't want to get into, but what I did learn is outside of the hamster wheel process of cranking out notices and doing that almost 100% error-free. I mean, we are all human, but we have a pretty good track record. You forget the impact sometimes when you're cranking out that kind of volume of, at the end of the day, that equates to people's lives,
sure.
Right? It is their property, it is their family, it's their home. All of those things matter on such a greater scale. So that's what I took back. One of the huge takeaways from the entire process of public notices that I was able to go back and share with my staff, especially the 2 ladies that run our legal advertising department, is don't forget about the impact. Don't forget about the difference that you make by ensuring that those notices are done correctly, accurately, because that matters. So after that, I worked in classified advertising and circulation. I had to do both of those things at the same time, and there is no worse department in a newspaper that you can work besides classified advertising and circulation. They are both like pull all your hair out. I did it well, I learned it, and then I decided I hated it. And I didn't want to do that anymore. So at that point, I had been with the Daily Record for a fair amount of time, probably, 8 years-ish. And I'm like, okay, my time here is done. So I went out and I got another job, and I came back and I told Jim that, I very much appreciate you giving me the opportunity. I feel like I've done well, and that I upheld my side of the bargain here. You gave me a chance, and I worked hard for you. But my time has come, and I'm going to leave. And he just said no. And he tore my resignation in half, and he threw him on the floor. And I'm like, I don't know if you can do that. But he did. And it really caught me off guard because I didn't know what to do. But at that point, like, I just picked it up and I handed it back to him in 2 pieces. And he said, "No, I'm not going to accept your resignation. What is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I want to learn everything that there is to learn about this business. I want to know the whole business side. I want HR. I want all of the accounting. I want to know how to run and operate the day-to-day. I want to know everything." And he said, "Okay." And at the time, we had someone in that position, and she was great. And I'm like, "But that job is not available." And he said, "It's okay if that's what you want, and I understand where you want to go. I believe that if given the opportunity, you will show up." And so a couple of weeks later, I had that job, and I loved that job.
Yeah.
I loved that job. There was never a dull moment. I got to put a printing press, full-size printing press, on a flatbed semi and move it across town. Do you know how? I don't do logistics. Jim also he had a cow farm. I know about inseminating cows. I do. Nothing to do with the newspaper business. I got to talk to. I got to work with Frank Kenny. Just so many people in that role, and every day was different. So I do the same job, but no day looks the same. And then Jim sold the Daily Record. Jim was much more than a boss to me. He was family. He ran the Daily Record like family. I seen him during the economic collapse in 2008, 2009, out of his own checkbook, pay our payroll week after week. He cared about not only his employees, but he cared about their families. When my son graduated from high school, he needed somebody to tie his tie, so he went and asked Jim to tie his tie on graduation day. I mean, he taught me how to be a boss and expect what needs to get done, ensure that gets done, but at the same time that you can care and love the people that you work with, and that you should care and love the people that you work with, and also the city that you live in. So that was instrumental. The city that you live in, make a difference. Yes. And so Jim was very careful in how he sold the Daily Record. Obviously, 3 generations. His family legacy was involved in, again, he had 6 girls. All 6 of his daughters, most of them worked with us at one point or another. None of them wanted to take over the family business. They seen how Jim worked, and they all said thank you, but no thank you. We don't want to do that for a living. And so Jim was very careful on ensuring that this legacy would continue to serve the community. And so when he sold to Matt Walsh of Observer Media Group. We are headquartered out of Sarasota. Matt and Emily Walsh are, Emily is Matt's daughter. So again, family owned and operated media company. We have newspapers and websites across the state. And that is now who I work for. So Matt bought us in 2017, January 2017, and over the course of those years, Matt kept asking Karen and I, like, hey, look, we need a local publisher. Jim was very active in the community, and it's important to have both the editorial side and the business side represented out in the community. I said, no, thank you. I was always one to say I would take on any opportunity, and I wanted to learn more. I did not want this job, but did you know that Not always are your plans what's best for you. That oftentimes you don't know what is right for you until you're voluntold that you get a call and say, and the person on the other end says, congratulations, you are taking this job, you can do it. And 3 times I said no. And then I started doing this job, and I really should have done this job all along because I really do love it. And what I love about it is working internally for 24 years, I knew our business. I knew our employees, I knew their families, but I didn't know our clients. I didn't know the business community, and so this has really been a great experience to get out and meet cool people who smile at you and give you encouragement throughout the day, or just feedback. You know, how can we serve Jacksonville the best way that we can? What do business owners need to know? What are they not getting that we can provide to them? So,
what's the role of a publisher? I mean, if you
get that question a lot. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
What is the role of a publisher?
I do everything but Windows. So Karen is editor. Karen has been our editor for many years, and so Karen handles all of the editorial side. She dictates the stories, what that editorial focus is, along with collaboration from myself. She and I work together on that, but it is her. So if it is, don't pitch me your stories, I will pass them along, but I am not a writer. I have written exactly 2 articles in 26 years. I am not a journalist. We have phenomenal journalists on our team, statewide award winners. They're terrific at their craft. It is an art, I will say. I'm not one of them. I work on the business side, so I'm responsible for any and everything on the left side of editorial. So I dictate by my community involvement of what is important to the business community, what direction do we need to go editorially, but how it's done, who is chosen for XYZ, not always. That's kind of the separation. There really is separation in church and state and at the Daily Record. And we do that for many reasons, but our integrity matters. And we never want to be seen as a pay for play. You give us $1 and we're going to write a story about you. That's not what we are. We are a newspaper. Our editorial is written specifically to what does the CEO, what does the business leader, what does the community leader need to know about information, trends, news that is happening in our community, and that is the niche that we serve.
In the next 4 minutes, if you could, I still have lots of questions, but one of them is, where do you see the trend of the Daily Record going? Because it seems like it's changed over the last couple of years, rather remarkably. Yeah. Another question I might have is, who are the people that you've met? You mentioned Ken.
Dr. Kinney.
Yes. And then anything else that you think would be important for us to know?
Okay, I would love to. So, the Daily Record has evolved tremendously over the years. A lot of that is by our industry partners. Historically, we have several designations. We've always been a legal newspaper. That is what we started out as in 1912. And so we've been the official newspaper for the Jacksonville Bar Association, for the Middle District, U.S. Bankruptcy Court, Middle District of Florida, for Duval Circuit and County Courts, but also we've extended and reached out. We are extremely involved with the Chamber. We are not the official newspaper of the Chamber of Commerce because that is not allowed. However, we are very active with them and Jacksonville Business Professionals Group. We are the official newspaper for NEFBA, residential real estate, for NAIOP, which is commercial real estate and development, and JWLA, as well as SMC. And why do we do that? Well, we do that because, we do that because by being involved in those industries, that will give us trends. It'll tell us what is happening within the business community, and so those partnerships are invaluable. Relationships are what drives us. Over the past 5 years, we've not completely changed, but we have evolved our editorial coverage significantly, both in area. So now we cover business news on a regional level, where historically we had always just focused on Duval County. And we've also expanded our editorial coverage to, we are highly read as development, commercial real estate, anything industry related on the business news side. So while still caring for our legal community and ensuring that we do have that same representation among them. In addition to that coverage area, we've also expanded our readership into all of those areas as well. I'm gonna get this right sooner or later. We are no longer daily in print. We are weekly in print now. We are daily online. And again, we cover everything from, you name the industry and it's being covered. And if it's not, I wanna know. We wanna hear from you. If there is something that, within the business news, trends, information that you're looking for, that we are not a source for you, my card is right there. I want to hear from you. So a lot of, over the past 5 years, our focus has really shifted. Again, I'm right back in circulation mode. In expanding our coverage, we've also expanded our legal advertising services to 4 counties. We now do public notice and legal advertising for Duval, Clay, St. John's, and now Nassau counties. We have distribution in all of those counties as well. So weekly in print, we reach 15,000 people. You can subscribe to us, we will mail it to you. If you are a Jacksonville Bar Association member, you get a free subscription. If you are a Jacksonville Bar Association member also, and you want to increase your visibility, the first Thursday of every month we publish the Jacksonville Bar Bulletin in the Daily Record, which really gives the entire business community and our readership a look at who the leaders are in the law. That's an opportunity for you. So I would say get involved, talk to Craig Shoup, and take advantage of that opportunity. Aside from that, we 15,000 in print weekly. We're online, jacksdailyrecord.com. In the past 30 days, actually, we had 305,000 people reading us online. We have a daily newsletter, social media, and we've really just put a lot of focus and intention on not growing numbers, but growing audience. And what do I mean by that? So we have intentionally developed our content, again, to the business leader. If you read us, you are either in that C-suite level business decision maker, or you're in business development, you're in sales, you're in marketing, you want to know the who's who. And so we've been able to keep a high level readership with that, but then also expanding into investors, CEOs, entrepreneurs, and creating content specifically geared to them. So we want to grow. We want to grow our footprint, our readership, but we want to do that in the best way possible. And so that's what we do. I hope that most of you, actually I'm going to turn that into a question. How many of you wake up to the Daily Record e-newsletter every week, every day, every morning? Good.
Yeah.
Currently we have about 18,000 people reading us that way. 15,000 in print. Yep. I already talked about that.
What's the difference between what's online and what's in print?
So those are 2 different audiences, in our opinion. So we roll out news based on how it should best be received. Sometimes there is breaking news, and that news will go online immediately. With a weekly print publication, it's never a it's never a recap. We do have a trending page, so anything that had gone online first that is hot news, it will typically be on that trending page, page 2 here. But overall, they're two different products. Everything in print will eventually go online. It depends on how it would best serve the business community. So in print, we have also strategically created an editorial calendar to ensure that every single industry has a touch point, and that we have the opportunity to dig into that particular industry and look at the trends, look at what is happening in the growth, but at the end of the day, we are a news paper, so news will always dictate our coverage. I know that's probably a non-answer, but it's complicated. What can I say?
The answer was it goes to the target audience.
It goes to
Because
the
like
target audience, yes.
people my age are more likely probably to get their news online. I haven't touched a real physical newspaper. So well, if I walk over there right now, a very long time, unless I was using it to like wrap something breakable or something, you know.
So I like it because there's just some bullet point headlines and stuff, so you can read those major articles. And then I'm nosy, so I love to see the different permits going on, the different construction activities and stuff like that. Because somebody, goes, oh, what's going on there? Oh, I know what's going on there. So it's very, very quick, but it's every morning. So I love the Wall Street Journal, but I don't love reading articles that are pages and pages. I don't have time. So there's just, like with Melina getting the award, it was in the news this morning.
Yes. We're usually pretty fast. Our editorial team can accurate, reliable, and fast. Those three things they are experts at for sure. And then also part of being owned by Observer Media Group, our vision is to always be innovating and elevating. And so we have some new digital products that will soon be out and available. So I'm really excited. It's long works in the making, but I think we're in the final stretch. I say that, and then something will break. But people read differently, right? And so as a media company, I think the more ways that you can give people the options to read how they want to consume news, and make that reliable, accurate information readily accessible to them in the way that they want to absorb it, consume it, then that's what we do. So stay tuned for some new cool things coming from the Daily Record. Yeah.
Well, good.
Yeah.